Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I thought we'd have a little bit of Christmas in, well, not July, but August. Since Christmas sneaks up so fast and so many of us struggle in the fall and winter to come up with Christmas cards for family and friends, I thought I'd start them early because this way, if you do 2 or 3 a day, you should be all set by the time you're ready to put Christmas cards out, depending on how many people you send cards out to. Now I send out I've cut way back because people aren't sending out cards as much anymore. I think last year I cut down to about 50, but I did not make handmade cards for everyone. I only made them for my immediate family, my siblings and their children, which cut me way down. And what I did were those cards. You can go back and look at my greeting card playlist and it'll show you what I did for Christmas. But I did little 4x6 cards and then matted them in a 5x7 mat and put them in little plastic protector bags and gave them to my family with the message on the back for Christmas, and that way they could frame them. My sister actually did that with hers, and if I can find the photo, I will post it up in the corner here on the video. But anyway, I thought, well, okay, why not go ahead and do a quick Christmas card today? And it'll be simple, just like, I think I'm going to stick with a landscape. Maybe some pine trees in the snow or something like that. Maybe a little foggy with a lot of snow in the background. Usually I use my Winsor Newton designer gouache in white for my snow. That's how I usually do it. Now I only have this palette out because I filled it up for my vacation. And I got paint on my brush here. I had to leave it open because I'll be leaving on vacation tomorrow and I need this paint to dry overnight. And I'm going to have to take my brushes out of here because they're going to mess up my cobalt teal. I put some extra colors in because I use this palette so much. I added my cobalt teal in the corner here, and it looks like some of my binder separated a little bit there, but I can mix that together, no problem. And then this was my shadow violet. I really like that color for shadows. Then I have moon glow here, some olive green, and then I have my Aussie red gold. And that's it. And then these were just little extra spills. I decided to leave them on my palette because I figured I could use them up. So I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra colors here. I may end up buying a bigger palette of this, but for right now this works great, and if I keep those colors in the corner I can still use them. I usually mix my greens here, so I thought putting my olive green there would not be an issue. Same with my yellows over here, and then my blues over here. The purples are pretty much kept separate. They're over by my thumb hole, which is fine. Once they dry I can flip my thumb hole up. Even now I can flip the thumb hole up and it doesn't get any paint on there. But so today I'll probably be working out of my St. Petersburg paints. I'm just going to set this aside out of the way, and I will be using my St. Petersburg White Night paints. This is the set that I normally use, and it stays kind of moist, so sometimes I lose a little pan over the edge and I have to stick it back. Now if you have the smaller palette like this, these are both the Palitra Nevskaya or White Nights paints. Some people call them Palitra Nevskaya. Some people call them White Nights. Some people call them St. Petersburg. They're all correct. They used to be called Leningrad, I believe, back before the name, the area changed to St. Petersburg. This is the smaller palette. You can also use this. I have many of the colors in this palette on my little travel palette here too. And I love this palette for urban sketching and stuff. It's really great. I've only used it a couple times, but I find it to be a terrific palette for taking out. Unfortunately, my travel brush doesn't fit in there. It's a little bit too long, but that's okay. I do have another travel brush that I think I can stick in there, but not sure where it went. So, but this is the paper that I've been using. This is a paper from B Company. You can purchase it at Michael's. and this is their 6x9 pad. It isn't a connected pad, it's just a bunch of pre-cut papers, and they put it in a cellophane package. I've lost mine over time, but it was a really thick thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to fold my paper with the rough side out. Take my bone folder here and make sure that I have this nice and even. And you can go ahead and tape it down if you'd like. I think that's what I'll do, is tape it down so it has a little bit of a white edge. And then we can go ahead and start painting. I'm going to be doing some wet into wet technique. This tape is really nice. This one I got from a Doodle and Sketch box, I believe. But I do also buy it. No, I may have bought this at Hobby Lobby. I really like this tape. It's got like a plastic coating on it, and it's archival, so you can use it for framing and stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and grab my brushes here, and we will get started. Just unroll this real quick. I'm going to use my Silver Black Velvet brushes. I'll use my size 8. I think I'll grab one of my Rubloff brushes as well. This is a size 5. I need to change my water too before I get started. I may need a flat brush as well. I'm going to use the small angular brush, I think, for my pine trees. They're really easy to do when you use a flat brush. So let me change my water. Being a lefty, I'm going to change my paint over to that side of my, to the left side of my painting area, so that I can just grab onto these quickly and easily. Okay, I'm going to do just a quick scene with some mountains in the background, a nice dark sky, and maybe a river running through. So I'm just going to wet down the sky real good. Now I'm going to use some indigo blue, very dark. Indigo blue contains black, so if you don't have indigo blue, you could probably mix indigo blue and black together. And I'm just going to streak this in, and I'm going to let it do its own thing and make clouds. This indigo blue is very different from my Daniel Smith indigo blue, but it's a pretty color. I want this to get into all the nooks and crannies of the mountains. Then I'm going to put a little purple on the edges too, I think, to just kind of dress it up a little bit. I'm just dropping it in. There. And now I'm going to grab a little bit of a, I want more of a rose color, like a quinacridone rose will work. And I'm just going to put that in on the edges, just to make it a different color. Just in certain spots. Okay, that might be a little too purple, so I'm going to take some more of my indigo and kind of push it back a little bit. And then we'll just have to leave this alone to dry. It's pretty wet. Okay, now I'm going to mix up some, well, actually I want to do the water too. I guess we can do the water now because there are no trees that are going to be showing in the water. So on the water, I'm going to need the same blue. So I'm going to get some more of that indigo. Mix it up here. I'm going to want to streak some white through it. So I'm going to put some blue here, and I'm going to also use some of that purple again. Actually, I want to get this wet. That way it'll kind of bleed together. And need that rose. Too much. That quinacridone rose is a very strong color, so I'm picking up some more blue to push that back a little bit. And it looks like I'm losing my white too. That's okay. Guess it'll just look more natural that way. Okay. Now I want to mix up some gray, but the gray I'm going to use a little bit of Payne's, but I want to use some ultramarine blue also and mix them together and make it a blue gray. And actually before I do that, I can't see what I'm doing here. Hang on, I need to brighten this up. Yeah, the blue-gray will work just fine. And we're going to make some shadows along the sides of the mountain. I just want to do it along certain sides. Got my brush too wet here. Actually, this is not dry yet, so let's wait for this to dry. Okay, now that that's dry, I'm going to take this very pale gray and I'm going to use that to go down the sides of the mountain. The light will be coming from this side like a moonlight. I'm just doing everything on the right side where the light might be blocked. Where the light would be passing by and the mountain would be blocking the light from the back, then that's where I'm putting the gray. I'm sorry, I stopped talking when I get concentrating. Right mid-sentence, I'll just shut up. Sorry about that. But you can follow along and just watch my marks. Okay, I think we've pretty much got this. And I do want to get this part of the mountain. And then I'm going to go back here. I'm going to darken some of these edges. Okay. That should work. Now, I need to make a greenish gray now with a deep green. I'm just going to mix it in here. It's got to be very watered down though. Keep it very watery like this. And I want to have some blue in it because these are going to be distant trees that are going to be like left in the fog, way in the distance by the mountains. So I'm just going to take these and I'm just going to dab little lines all across here. And these are going to become the trees. I got a little too much water on my brush though. There we go. Took too much off now. Okay. There's that side. Now I got to do the same to this side. I'm just going to put lines all the way down. And then along the bottom I'll just fill in. And they become trees. Pine trees are so easy to do in the distance. Now I wish those were a little bit lighter, so I'm just going to dab some of this up, this color, just to fade it out a little bit more, to reabsorb some of that. There we go. It's going to dry lighter anyway. Okay. Now I want to do this again, but I want it even more watery because I want this to look like there is fog in front of the mountain going across that would come through here. There we go. Alrighty, now make sure that's dry before we move on to the next step. If you planned to do a bunch of these, you could be doing 3 or 4 in a row and do your sky, and by the time you get done with your last one, your first one would be almost dry, and then you can move on to the next point and to the next point and all of that. This part bled together a little bit, and I don't like that, but I'm going to have trees covering most of it anyway, so I'm just going to kind of zap that out of there. And then I'm going to dry it with my dryer and put some green back in there. That should be good enough. Let me take some of that green and put some of those trees back in. There. And on this side, I'll go ahead and start. These are going to be really dark trees. I'm going to use some green. I'm going to use my deep green, whatever the green is. It's just called green in this set, but it's very dark, as you can see. And then I'm going to add some of my black to it. This is neutral black. It's really nice. It's a very rich black. And I really don't want to use this brush. I'm going to go to a smaller brush for my trees. Actually, I'm going to try my angular brush. I kind of like using angular brushes or flat brushes for these. And along this hill, I'm just going to, one of these trees is going to come up pretty high, like right here. And then the other one will be lower. And I'm just going to make this start. And I want it a little blacker though. This is still too green. Because it is nighttime, so. And I'm just going to dab this back and forth. That's all I do to give the pine tree its look. I got a little thick at the top, so I'm going to go a little bit higher. There we go. And this needs to come out a little bit more. There we go. And then the other one. And I want these to lay in the snow. So I'm going to bring them right down to this hill so they almost look like they go into the snow. Now some pine trees point down. These ones are pointing upward. That's just how they look in my photo. There we go. And now, on this side, that's dry now. I'm going to keep these dark, but I need to water it way down because they're going to be in the distance. So I want them to be more faint. I'm going to do some of these. Oh, that's still too dark. Let me take some of this and put it in another pan. I'm going to put a few layers here. I think that should be thin enough. Let's see. Okay, we'll let that dry. And up front, we're going to be making some like little brush sticking out of the snow. So, oh my goodness, I'm so hot. It is so flippin' humid here. Oh, I'm dying. Should turn on my air conditioning, except we're leaving tomorrow on vacation. And it's like we're going to be going in and out of the house and all of that. Now, I did bring some sepia into this, but I want to make it a little bit of a redder color. I'm going to try, well, English red is very opaque. I'm going to see what that'll do here. No, I don't think I like that. If I put that with that, English red does not have a good, actually it does, I think it has a good light fast rating. It just doesn't, it's very opaque, that's the thing. Let me try some brown in that. Oh, that could work. That might work, but it's still not the right red. I want it to be brighter. Let me try some Madder Lake red. There we go. It's got a pinker red to it now. That's what I like. But I want it to be richer, so there we go. Okay. Now I need to take a thin brush. So you might want to grab like a size, I don't know, maybe a size 1 or 0 or 10-0, or so this is a 10-0. Just a cheap brush. And this one is my Rosemary and Company size 1. I'm going to start with that first. And grab some paint. Oops, I got a little water there. And I just want some sticks to stick up here. Maybe some rocks. Use a little Payne's Gray here. Water it down because these are getting to be in the distance. I want this to look like a hill, so I'm just gonna have them like that. My paper towels are unrolling all over the place here. There we go. Okay. I need to fix this water's edge too and make it nice and crisp. So I'm just taking my indigo and doing it along the edges. Only on the edges you can see. This side I wouldn't be able to see, but over here I can see very well. That just gives it the illusion of water on a snowbank, you know, or at a snowbank. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to go back to my gray. I got to mix up some new because I kind of mixed it all together, but I need my ultramarine and my Payne's gray. And I'm just going to add something to the snowbanks so you can tell where the hills are, like along the water's edge here. There should be shadow from the trees. This isn't blue enough, it's looking like my rocks. It's a little bit too blue, there we go. Just dab that there. Okay. Now I'm going to do the pine trees over here, and they are going to be faded out. Let's see how faded they got here. Just using the point of my brush because these are so small. Actually, that needs to be a little bit darker than the previous one, so I'm adding a little bit of black to that. And a few more. Got a little too dark. I'm going to fix that. And there we go. All right. Now normally I would just leave this alone and not add any snow to it because the sky looks fairly clear, but since there are clouds in the sky, I am going to go ahead and add some snowflakes because they're fun. So I'm taking a little bit of my white gouache, and the trick to snowflakes is keeping this as opaque as possible, and then you just spray it on. If you do it too thin, they're going to look real grayed down, so you want to try and keep it real thick if possible, and then just take it with a stiff brush And just flick, flick, flick. Make sure you get the trees and the water. There. And that's all there is to it. Now you can put a sentiment on it on the front, or you can leave it as is and put your sentiment only inside. If it's something that you think somebody might like to frame, you can, uh-oh, look at that. I got bleeding under there. Darn. Make sure your tape is down tight. That's because I had so much water there. I was a little concerned that might happen. But that indigo leaked underneath. That's all right. I can take a white pen and fix it probably if I just want to go like this. Yeah, and I can get rid of the edge. It won't even show. Nobody will notice it if I just do that. That helps. So don't worry, you don't have to throw your card away. The other thing you can do is if you have too much bleeding underneath your tape, just cut your card and then glue it down onto a new card. And then you're all set. But for now, I'm just going to leave this as is. And I'll do the bottom here. There's a couple little dots. There. So there's my little landscape for a Christmas card. And if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button down below in the description area. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I noticed I had a lot of new subscribers over the last week. I just went over my 3,000 mark. Thank you, you guys. And that was really kind of exciting. I never thought in a million years that I'd ever have this many subscribers. And I know vloggers get tons of subscribers, but when you're an art, have an art channel, it's a whole different ball game. It takes a long time to develop your subscribers. So anyway, I thank you. It was very nice. But this is the quick card that you can make, and if you enjoyed it, hit that like button, and I will talk to you all soon. Just have fun with it and start practicing now, because December is just around the corner. I know it's scary. I'm sitting here sweating and thinking about Christmas and snow and cold, and it's going to be a bummer. But actually, I like all the seasons, but I'm just not ready for winter yet. So start making your Christmas cards now. Get them out there. Be courageous. Paint with wild abandon. And most of all, be kind to each other. God bless you all. I'm going on vacation, so I may not have a video posted for next week. It all depends on my signal strength. If I'm getting 4G on my phone, then I can upload. If not, then I can't. So I'm going to enjoy my vacation, but if I can do it while I'm sitting still somewhere, that'd be great.